Alright, today I'll be picking this Commando IC3 Tactical. It is a green belt, and first I'll just give you a short intro. I thought this was an interesting kind of design, and the reason for it is if you look, if you do pick this open, which I'll show you shortly, when you do pick this open with the key, if you pick it open, if it's locked on something, it is still secured by this. So you got protection from being cut, but then also if you pick it, there's no way to get, like even if you do this, you can't get whatever's locking her out. You have to bring it in this direction. You have to then turn the key in the other direction, which means you have to pick it again to release this, do this, and then pull this out of whatever's binding it. So I thought it was really interesting because after I picked it the first time, I realized, I'm gonna have to pick this again. So just show that real quick. So a little intro, and I thought that was an interesting locking mechanism that will kind of make it a little bit harder because you gotta pick it twice. All right, so I'll get into this. So I did this several times before, and I'll explain to you kind of some of the hardships I learned. What I did learn on this is the core, you can see, is very loose. But pretty much, I just put it in here and try to turn the core. Pretty much from that turn position, I am putting almost no tension on it. So there's a turn position. I am basically just putting my thumb there. That's just holding it in place. And then I got something really shallow, and we'll talk about this in a second. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to get in here, and I'm just going to kind of bring all this warning down. And then go around the warning and just kind of push all the pins lightly down, very little pressure. Okay, and then after you get to it, push into a slightly false set, I'm going to go to number 2. Okay, just making sure everything's in. That doesn't feel in. Let's go back in here. Okay, everything feels in now. So let's go to number 2. 1, 2. Oh, something's wrong with it. Let's reset. Go in here. All right, so again, light pressure. There we go. It's because I didn't get the first pin. All right, so I pushed everything down. Okay, and now I'm going to go to number 2. And there's a little bit of counter rotation. Just going to go through this again. And now it's the 3rd pin. All right, so now it's unlocked. So I have to bring this back around. What you have to do is you have to get the right distance to be able to lock this. So I'm going to turn this back in the direction that I picked it. So now that's in there, I put it upside down. Now I have to pick it the other direction. So we'll do some bottom key. I'm going to pick it counterclockwise. Now I have to pick it counterclockwise. So again, very light tension. Okay, got a little bit of a false set. Okay, just readjusting the camera angle. So you can see the so light tension just fell out. I'm going to go back up. I'm going to try 2. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to manually kind of rotate. I'm going to bring it back up. All right, let's reset. Okay, so light pressure. There we go. Okay, there's the false set I was looking for. Okay, found 1, no, 2. Okay, a little bit of rotation on 3. Could I help it a little? See if that got past it. Okay, felt that on 2 now. So I'm going to bring this back a little. And it's out. So you have to pick it both directions. So now that I've picked on both sides, sorry that took so long. When I practice, it went a little bit quicker. So let's just bring this back and I'll talk about it a little bit. All right, so when I first started picking this, what I realized was if you look at the warding here, so let's get a good view of it. So when you look at the warding on this, it was kind of, let me just make sure this is in place. So if you look at the warding, I pick upside down because I'm a lefty, so bear in mind that. But if you look, I first started trying to pick in this direction, like this. Picking, let's focus, picking in this direction. What I was noticing is that the first one, try to get this in focus, when I pick it, I'm able to manipulate the first one. And I've talked about warding before in previous posts, and I do talk about how you should, without anything in there, get the pick and try to push down every pin. And you'll notice the first one, just because the way it curves, when you put this in here, you'll tend to push down and you'll be able to get around that first warding because it hooks this way. But as you get deeper in, you won't be able to. What I noticed is with this thickness of a pick, when I was pushing in here, you could see the first one go up and down. But when I get the second one, I'm stuck on warding. I actually can't get past it. So that's when I realized I need to pick it actually in, get this focus again, in this direction, at this angle. But when you do it this direction, it's very, you can't get something with this profile in there. So I hoped I was able to get something with a much flatter profile in there. And I actually was very lucky about getting in here. So I was able to get every single one of them. And in this one, what you saw was I was having, when I first picked it open, I believe, then there were 3-1. But what I found is that when I actually picked this up on a more routine basis, is that when I picked this with very light tension, see how barely I'm putting anything on there, I was able to just kind of pry off that top part. And I'm just bringing this down until I got to a full set. And when I got into a full set, what was interesting to me, I'm trying to get into that full set feed now. So I'm going to release it and bring it back again. Because usually I get into full set pretty quickly. Okay, it's that first one that when I get it right, okay, I'm in the full set now. When I was holding way too much pressure on here, and I couldn't get it to rotate. And I'll show you this real quick. What I did was, is I took something with a deeper hook, and what I was doing was I was actually pushing on each pin to see what would kind of rotate. And I'm not joking, when I was going through them over and over again, I could not feel it. So because I couldn't feel it, and because this is dead core, I actually just removed this and just slowly, one by one, pushed the first pin down. It didn't cause it to rotate. Then here's the second pin, I pushed it down, and you see how it rotated? So I realized, okay, let me try working on the second pin. And I've just been really lucky to find out that the second pin, when I get into full set, seems to be usually the only thing holding me up. Of course, when I first recorded this, it was actually the third pin. I got the second pin set, and then I did the third pin again. So in this one, just to give you an idea of what normally happens, because I'll show you. So don't think, this took me the first time I picked it at least 10 minutes to pick it, because I was messing around with it a lot. So it wasn't as easy. But anyway, once I got into full sets, I'm going to go into this again one more time. So you can see, just kind of talk through it. So normally I'll talk through as I'm going through each one of these pins, but I have such light on it that it really would be nothing to talk about. So I'll talk about it now, like 1, pushing on 1. Okay, got to click on 1, nothing on 2. Light. Go 2, whoop, like it fell out. So 1, 2, gonna reset. Let's try it again, lighter pressure. Didn't get too much about it. So very light pressure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's a full set. So that's, I literally, with very light pressure, so if there was more spools in there, I must have bypassed. And then what I learned was, hit 1, 2, because I found out that's when rotating, I just tested this, and you'll see with this, I'm gonna hold this in, this is kind of what I've actually normally done. It doesn't rotate very well, so I actually just bring my pinky around. If you can see it, here's my pinky. I literally bring my pinky around. I just kind of rotate it manually back a little bit. And that's what I do. I literally manually bring it back with my pinky. I know that's called, I think I've seen Georgia Jim talk about it, like floating, and I'm going to have to learn how to do that better when I get into gins, but I've never done it in gins before. So I'm assuming it's going to be something along those lines. But anyway, I just thought this was an interesting pick because of the having to pick it twice. So it's the first lock that I actually had to pick twice, so it's pretty cool. And that's all I got.